So welcome to this call. This is going to be the presentation of the structure of the Astro Finance Newsletter. It's also going to be a recording of this is going to be sent out with the newsletter. We'll see if we upload this on YouTube as well. Depends. Maybe some other people want to see that too, right? So I just wanted to help you navigate this, right? So when you first start reading this newsletter, there might be a lot of things that are confusing, but that's normal. It's just in the beginning because it's kind of like new lingo and certain things that are new to you. Okay. But when you watch this video and follow what I'm saying, you're not going to have any problems making use of this information as well. Okay. So let's go into the structure here. It always begins with a foreword, okay? A foreword in which I'm basically talking about current events and how I see the markets develop and what that has to do with maybe political developments, maybe with, astrological cycles and so on and so forth, right? All of these things are usually interconnected. And as you already know, political events as well as market movements are always the result of planetary movements. And I'm going to give you a rough outline of how I see things developing right now. Okay, this is going to be the foreword. After that, you're going to get a disclaimer. That's going to be the same one every single time. And I have to repeat this again and again and again. Okay, this Astro Finance newsletter, I have to cover my ass. I'm not going to deal with any bullshit. I'm not going to deal with any legal issues. This is not financial advice. You do with information whatever it is that you decide to. Okay. Now, if you choose to lose all your money, then that's yours. If you choose to make a lot of money, that's yours. But I'm not taking any responsibility for your actions. Let's just make that clear. And that's why there's a disclaimer in there too. Okay. So now. The next part will be the long reports. Okay, the long reports are about between 3 to 5 stocks that I researched that you should go long with. What does it mean long? It means that I believe that those stocks are going to grow. There's growth potential there, and they're going to go up in price. This is going to be. These estimations are going to be shared with you, including solid research on the company structure, the business model, whatever is necessary in order to justify this case. And then on top of that, also, of course, astrological explanations of why I think it's going to happen. Okay? But we always use 3 layers of information. We use fundamental analysis, we use technical analysis, and we use astrological analysis. And those 3 together, combined, then create a case. All right. So we have long reports with, like I said, new additions to the portfolio that you can go along with. The next are going to be short reports. It's going to be the same thing, but with stocks in which we think that they're going to drop in price. Okay, it'll be the same analysis, just the result of the analysis was that their price is going to go down. Okay, and then I'm going to share part of my full portfolio with you. Okay, so these long and short reports that I just mentioned are new additions to the portfolio. But that's not the whole portfolio. The whole portfolio is going to be shared in the next step here, long positions and short positions. So you're going to get the whole portfolio of long stocks, investments that I'm long with, as well as those that I'm short with, many, many more. But they're not going to be as detailed as the long and short reports, as the new entries, okay? Now we have to start somewhere. Over time, as you're going to see, is the portfolio is going to change, right? Because there are going to be new ones that come in, and old ones that they're going to be taken out, right? And over time, the portfolio is going to be a completely new one. But we have to start somewhere. So I'm not going to go into the thesis and the reasons why my portfolio is the one that it is right now. I'm just going to explain why the new things, the long and short reports are coming in. Okay. And over time, we will see that the portfolio is going to change. Next, we're going to talk about global opportunities, right? Once again, that's going to be fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis could be anything that is kind of like an external factor. We also want to, of course, we want to reduce and minimize systemic risk. You know, that partially we do that through diversification of the assets, right? But on top of that, we got to look at how much the different investments are correlated with each other, right? And we can figure that out through global opportunities. And, you know, maybe keep our eye on opportunities that are not necessarily very correlated with each other. So even if one of them doesn't work out, the other two will still work out. Okay. So essentially just an analysis, on global trends, for example. Okay. Let's say, I know everybody's talking about artificial intelligence. Yes, there are going to be stocks in this portfolio already that are in artificial intelligence. Okay? But what is the development in this field, right? You win with investing not by understanding the present. That's not hard, okay? And definitely not by understanding the past, because everybody, you know, like later you're always smarter. After it had happened, you're always smarter, and everybody has 1,000 explanations of why it happened, right? But when you ask the person before, there's so many different avenues open, so many parallel universes, you could say, that multiple different options. They're not going to be able to choose, right? So the art is being able to predict what's going to happen, and that's fucking hard to do. And it's a risk reward analysis, right? Now, just look into that report, Global Opportunities. You're going to see what that actually means. And you're going to have to study these things. This is not something you can read through in 10 minutes and you're done with it. The one competitive advantage that you have in every field of life is you have to have deep understanding of the thing. Deep understanding. Even if you're a person that is more like a generalist. Me personally, I'm a generalist, okay? I have very, very broad interests. I'm interested in pretty much, I don't know if there's anything I'm not interested in. I'm sure there are a lot of things that I'm not interested in, but the point is, still, I have very, very broad interests. But it's kind of like a T shape, because I have very, very broad interests, but there are few things that I have deep, deep skill and domain expertise in. And this is how you need to do it. Okay, even if this is not your passion or whatever, you still have to go deep with it. You have to digest this stuff. You have to really, really try to understand these things. And over time, you're going to create a network in your own head. It's going to allow you to do the same thing. This newsletter is going to allow you to literally develop a new skill. What you're getting here from me is high level education when it comes to the stock market, you know, completely for free. And if you actually digest that, study that newsletter, it's going to be a lot of pages, but if you actually digest it, study it, try to, you know, create your own research thesis and whatnot, you're actually going to develop a really, really powerful skill. And then we're going to look at the watch list, which is things to keep an eye on in terms of stocks, businesses. What's going to happen there? Is the CEO going to go? Is it not going to go? You know, what is the Fed going to decide to do? What are interest rates? Depending on that, we're going to make this decision at that decision. That's the watch list. And then there are short ideas. When it comes to trading ideas is one of the hardest things, right? Trading is not hard. It's basically just, your short, your stop loss, your entry point, your exit point, and that's it. Right? That's what most people think it is. It's like these patterns that you study, right? And then you go in here, you go there. Well, it's almost like how do I say that? It's more about having the right ideas. How do you think about the world? At the end of the day, if you hear there's war, and the first thing that you think about is, what do most people think? Who's the bad guy? Or Putin Russia attacks Ukraine or whatever. Oh, they're the bad guys. Or something happens in Israel. The first thought that you have is, whose fault is this? You're not thinking like an investor. Some people say that's cynical. It really isn't. I don't think it is. It's just a matter of, like, war is a constant in the human experience. It's never going to go away. It's never been different. So you might as well profit from this human trait. It's just like, how do you say it? I mean, I'm not going to go into discussions of ethical and unethical, okay? But none of you and me, we're not going to end this trait of human nature that we're a warlike species. It's just what it is. We're a violent species. Violence is golden, okay? And violence is what's been with us and what's going to stay with us. That's just what we are as a species, okay? I mean, I know living in a civilized environment, we tend to forget that. And let food supply break down for 1 week and you'll see what we are. So, so looking at the world in a specific way is very important. So if you think, okay, war broke out here, oh, that might actually change the oil price in that direction. Now you're starting to think of the right way. Okay. Oh, this politician is being indicted for this and that and the other. Now and this is how we can profit from that. Or when you start listening to political events and you automatically think about cui bono, okay? Cui bono means who benefits. This is actually something that we need to talk about a little bit more deeply, because most people think that politicians are stupid or corrupt or they're part of the Illuminati or whatever, right? Because to them, the political decisions don't make sense. Now, it is a fact, it remains a fact that most people are dumb. You can never forget that. Most people are stupid. That's number one. We all know the bell curve. We know the distribution of IQ, and we know that the middle is 100, which means, first of all, that half of the people out there are more stupid than 100, and that's average. Okay, so if you're anywhere here, which I'm assuming you are, 120, 130, and beyond that, think about it: 70 to 80% of the whole population is stupider than you. And don't make them and small IQ points make a huge difference. They really, really make a big difference. So first of all, most people are stupid. You have to accept that fact. Most people are really dumb. They can't think abstractly. They can't think multiple things at the same time, or rather, they can't. They need everything linearly. They need A, B. They can't follow a stream of thought, a stream of consciousness. When let's say I talk and I go there, it's a different branch, and then I return kind of like back on track. They wouldn't be able to follow this conversation. There are actually people that are too stupid to do that. And that's the majority of the population. You really have to understand this. So you don't need to be that smart to make money that way. But you need to be a little bit above average, which is not hard to do. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is essentially that you must start thinking in a different way. Okay, so always ask yourself the question: Cui bono? Cui bono? Who benefits? From your perspective, or from our perspective, with limited information, it might be more than most other people, but still, from our perspective, let's say Germany's recent decisions when it comes to energy supply and all that stuff make no sense, right? I'm in Paris right now. I'm in France. Paris has fucking nuclear plants to the fucking up to the nose, right? And the argument of the German politicians was, hey, we need to stop using nuclear power because we want to prevent accidents. And you tell me, France is directly bordering Germany. If something happens to a nuclear plant here, a real accident, do you think that makes any difference to Germany if the nuclear plant was actually in Germany or in France? They're all going to be fucked. It doesn't make a difference, okay? So it's not a logical argument, but that's what they said was the reason why. No, the actual reason is why that happened is after the Cold War, Germany lost its purpose as an ally to the US, and instead it became a competition. And on top of that, they started being buddy with Russia, which is a big problem to the US because if you connect Russia with Germany, that will be a big competitor. Okay, so that's a no-no. So how do you prevent that? How do you in fact destroy all of Europe? You destroy Germany first, and then the rest is going to follow. So the energy prices in Germany and the economy in Germany are fucked. Germany is not going to be a competitive economy in the next 20 years. It's just impossible. Why? Because the German economy was dependent on good labor, well educated workers, and cheap energy from Russia, and well educated people. That together created a competitive economy. Now, first of all, the demographics are fucked. Many more people retire than are starting to work. Okay. So the workers are not going to be there anymore. And number two, the cheap energy prices are not there anymore. Germany is not competitive anymore. And that's going to show. And how did that happen? Well, and why did that happen? It's because the US started to systematically undermine that competitive advantage and kind of like push them to adopt renewable energy, which is not going to be able to cover all the expenses of energy that they need. And, gas and all that stuff had to be imported anyways, cheaply, but now they have to buy it for a lot more money. I think 3 times the price from the US, the fracking gas, because since the war in Ukraine, the pipeline has been blown up that was delivering gas from Russia to Germany. Now they have no choice. They have to import it from the US. Okay. So the US is extracting money on one side, and on the other side, they're destroying the competitiveness of Germany. Why? Because after the Second World War, Germany has been owned by the US essentially. It was never a sovereign country, right? So most people would not see it that way. Most people would say, oh, Putin attacked Ukraine. He's the bad guy. So we have to help Ukraine. Oh, which is another fucking big expense that Germany is having, by the way. Sending money to Ukraine, of course. Which is nothing but see, that's the funny part, because this money that they're giving to Ukraine is using to buy weapons from who? From the US. Right? Funny. So the German tax money goes to Ukraine, and I don't know, maybe 50% of that goes into the pockets of the fucking corrupt politicians over there, and then another 50% to the military-industrial complex. Right? The point is, most people are not capable of thinking in terms of complex interactions. They want a bad guy and a good guy. That's what they want. It's like a tribe. Think about it. Most people in their brain are in the caveman era. They want it simple. one tribe against another, black, white, bad, good. You're not going to make money like that in the markets. Okay. So that's why I really want you to digest that. I really want you to think deeply about the stuff that is in there. And of course, on top of that, astrology is going to give you another layer of interpretation. Now, this is not going to be a satisfying answer to a lot of people. I already know that. Why? Because most people think, once again, astrology doesn't need this other part. Right? If you use astrology, why do you need these other factors? Why are these other factors relevant? You see? And this is the exact reason why most people can't use magic, because they don't have a good balance there. See, the full power of the individual is developed as they combine their intuitive side, their magical side, their unconscious with the rational part. These two have to come together to truly make you a powerful magician, a powerful whatever. If you want to be a powerful person, you need those two. You need a little bit of intuitiveness, you need a little bit of rationality. Both of those things have to come together. Otherwise, your head's going to be in the fucking clouds and you're not going to get anything done, or you're not going to have any imagination. You're going to be a fucking a person that puts tattoos on little ants, like a detailed people that are so in the details that they can't do anything. So when we're talking about political decisions, from your perspective, the decision might sound stupid, but there are always three options. Number one, yes, the person is stupid that has taken a decision. Number two, you're not aware of all the factors, or you're not aware of the better or worse option, if that makes sense. And you're not aware of the long-term planning. Okay? So if you had a situation in which a political decision is made, or let's say a decision is made that you don't understand why, you could say these people are stupid. But that chance is actually very low. Politicians are not stupid. They're just operating based on information that you don't have. Okay? It could also be that that's what they did was the best option out of many, many worse options. Okay? And the third is, there's a bigger plan that you don't understand. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine a person that is fully conscious and somebody comes and cuts off their leg without anesthesia. First instinctive reaction is, oh my God, this is a horrible person. How can you do this to another human being? Cutting off their leg without anesthesia. That's most people. Now, they're not aware of the many, many worse other options. Okay? So cutting off the leg is not necessarily super good. But the other options are the sickness that is in the leg is going to spread throughout the body and it's going to kill the entire body, the entire organism. Is that a worse option than cutting off a leg and then being an amputee? Probably. Right? So the person is not aware of that, or people that are seeing that are not aware of this other worse option. The person is actually going to die. Yes, they're going to go through a painful experience where they're going to be amputated, but that's the best out of many, many, many bad options. Okay. The third one is the bigger plan. It's saving lives. That's the priority. Saving life has a priority. So what looks stupid at first glance, like hurting somebody, amputating something without anesthesia, could serve a bigger purpose of saving their fucking life. Okay? And making them survive. And future generations and whatnot. Okay? So the plan is often much bigger. So I have bad news. If you're listening to this and you're getting bored, you are probably one of the majority of people, which in this case is not good. It just means that you don't have enough juice to be successful, to have successes with that, which is good because it's a competitive game and the stock market is a zero-sum game. So the less people are able to digest this stuff and get good at it, the better. Okay. So next, there's also going to be a part of that where we're going to talk about what the smart money is doing. What is smart money? Smart money are essentially huge institutional investors. The good thing about, or let's say, everything has an upside and a downside. Literally everything in life has an upside and a downside. Okay. The upside is, or let's say the downside is that huge investors control the markets in a sense where they can front run things and they can start a movement into a certain direction. Okay. They have such huge portfolios that they can use a small percentage of that to buy certain stocks. And as they do that, they will write up the price. It will increase the price because other people will see that movement and they will want a part of that. Okay? They can do the same thing in the opposite direction, which the downside is they have more power than everybody else, including you, of course. Now, what is the upside, though? The upside is they are institutional investors and have to publish what they do. They're required by law to publish their purchases as soon as it goes above a certain percentage of the stocks of a company. So if they buy 5%, if they buy one stock more than 5% of the stocks, they have to publish that. And you can research it and you can see what they're doing. Do you think it's a smart idea to follow what the smart money is doing? Probably, right? That's also going to be part of that, of course. After that, I'm going to go a little bit into investment principles and investment theses. All right. And then some glossary. Okay. So that's going to be essentially the structure of this Astro Finance newsletter. I really want you to understand that this is not just something that you read once and it's done. It's really very educational. And if you use this resource, not just as entertainment, which is probably what most people are going to do. I have no illusions about that. Most people can't be helped with that. I understand that. That's okay. Because they don't have the ability to focus on something long enough. But it's the same thing with everything else. But those of you, the tiny minority of you who are able to follow this, to digest it, and will over time, you will develop an actual skill set that can make you not only financially free, it can make you a lot of fucking money, a lot of fucking money, you know? And, yeah. So I think I said everything that I wanted to say. We're probably going to post this on YouTube and we'll see. Okay. Do you have any questions? Okay, great. So I truly wish that you can benefit from what's shared in that newsletter. I really hope that you will not just read it, digest it, understand it, but also apply it. I'm also going to recommend certain brokers in there, you know, brokers that you can get an account with and start, you know, applying that portfolio for yourself. And if not, you know, there's also going to be a performance of the portfolio, you know, so you're going to see what those stocks are actually going to do. So you don't have to believe and you're going to see performance. And like I said before, we're after total return. We want absolute return. It doesn't matter what the market does. I want a positive alpha. And I'm going to show you the magic. Okay. So hopefully you got something out of this and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.